It's an honor to be here. Okay, we'll get started. Can you hear me now? Okay, keeping it real. Interventions, ruptures, and affirmations. Much of my work is, in itself, a documentation of a quest for agency and sovereignty. Agency, for me, is the power to act independently without the constraint of the world system of white supremacy. And sovereignty, for me, is the power to be self-determining. I use the word gentrification in this paper because it unveils a certain arrogance. There are several ways in which archiving is a part of my process. I utilize photographs, I collage documents, and I assemblage, and I stamp inked objects into my work. And I also use various printmaking systems to print information into the images. Okay. Ooh, I am nervous. The need to place actual documents in my work surfaced during the execution of suspicious activities, a body of work concerning the parallels between the occupation of Iraq and Black neighborhoods here in the US. The work was produced during the later part of the 2000s. The police at home were being militarized again. Trinidad, a Black section of DC, and Fallujah were both under siege. I understood this phase of occupation to be shadowy, menacing, and mysterious because of the opaque relationship between the banking systems, developers, corporations, and the government, which impacted the lives of people abroad and at home. I refer to this rupture of community as an initial clearing of the land, the removal of Black and brown bodies from their home and land. Text, photography, and actual documents were placed in the compositions. From 2000 to 2009, I worked on this body of work, and my focus shifted in 2010 as I explored the issue of French colonialism in a series, French Doors, again the familiar issue of sovereignty. By 2014, I felt as if I was living in the middle of a storm as I traveled to several construction sites to take photos. The language of this erasure of poor and Black communities offered imagery, redlining, gentrification, destabilization, just to name a few. And these pieces demanded irregular perimeters. I wanted them to push outward beyond the rectangle and square. DC was changing rapidly. I gathered information and materials to express the evolving aesthetics of gentrification. The look of gentrification was changing. It was in build mode. Cranes, lots of cranes, and Black triangle patterns of its structure, neon orange cones on the pavements and the streets. Bright blue tarps, bright yellow caution tape, neon green on the jackets of construction workers, gray reflection tapes on signs and equipment, and the grid of dry wall mesh, yellow and Black striped reflector tape. Textured, tar textured house paint and the shiny smell of new, and Tyvek, a home insulation product, was everywhere. This is some of the roofing. And the photographs in these pieces, I went to construction type sites all over the city while this was going on and took photographs. This is a Tyvek. Patterns of bright red and orange temporary fencing, coupled with Wi-Fi signs, let the neighborhood know that a particular property had turned, young, white, and privileged. And there were more signs placed carefully for safety reasons. Private property, no trespassing, and restricted area arranged with lengths of yellow caution tape. But for whose safety? Having experienced the early stages of gentrification in Harlem in the 1980s, I remember innocently seeing tiny pastel bags in the gutters of Harlem. Soon I would learn that they were bags to market crack cocaine, and every income level was hit, and it was traumatic. When they appeared on the streets of Washington, D.C., it was a devastating period for the city, and the bags were included in this series to signify yet another form of destruction commodified. Do any of you remember the whispers in the community about the Plan? Does anybody remember that? Yes. I found references to it as early as 1998 in Washington Post article by the late William Raspberry. The DC corporate media labeled the Plan a conspiracy. What do you think? The business of gentrification is just tremendous. From the neon paints to the tarps, the fences, the actual building, commerce, and more commerce. For the newly arrived gentry, symbolized by the king, queen, and jack playing cards. Yet there are too few jobs for those who have lived here for decades. The Washington Post published accounts of elders caught in the jaws of gentrification. The home of Miss Daisy, an elder, was lost to a tax bill for less than $75. And this piece is called Speak of Miss Daisy, and the actual article is incorporated in the piece. I purchased the Blackbird firearm target. Blackbirds have long been symbols for Black people, and there were no targets, no robins, nor doves, or sparrows for targets. They were blackbirds. And I appropriated the target so that there was no mistaking that the targets actually existed. And you can see I use a lot of ephemeral. I pick up things off the street. And I had an exhibit of the work at New Door Creative, owned by Miss Michelle Taliba, and it was an intimate gallery located in Baltimore, and they exhibited a portion of occupational hazards in September of 2016. The artist talk evolved into a profound sharing between community members regarding how to resist in Baltimore. The exhibition, How We Lost DC, at Humpfler Gallery was in 2015, and artists Wesley Cook, Wesley Clark mined documents for the exhibition. Lionel Foster White III and Michael Brooker did so for the Prince George's County African American Museum and Cultural Center exhibition, Chocolate City, which closes May 19th, so I want to encourage everyone to go to see that. In America, the truth of the vile encroachment on Black life is often marginalized, hidden, erased, and ignored. The use of documents and works of art acts as evidence to support our stories. The artist's self can become an archive, something about what one sees. This practice can preserve reality for now and for the future. Said, if you see something, create. Much respect for men and women of the Barry Farms, who continue to have the courage to fight the power. Thank you very much.